In the metals quadrant today, looking at the August gold contract, which has a 4-day rally going on, although today ended up finishing weaker, not weaker versus the settlement last week, but weaker versus its own high. Gold at its first time above 1800 since June 17th, 1815.70 was that high. That was up 1.81%. On the downside today, 1784.70 was actually a gap up by 60 cents. Yesterday's settlement, 1783.30, or I should say last week's settlement before the 4th of July holiday. Now we settled below 1800, up about 64, 65 basis points, but right at that level, again, pulling back later in the day. Now, the rally today and over the last couple of days really, but more today than any, had a flight to safety move feel to it. The gold move higher went on while the yield curve was flattening, and we had a dramatic move in yields down to about 135 on the low side of things for the 10-year note today. That's after a 144 settlement last week and a 148 settlement the day before. So that would be Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. That's a pretty dramatic move in yields, and the yield curve was flattening at the same time. So this is that flight to safety feel that I'm talking about, because if you've got yields falling dramatically, that means two things. Number one, people don't think inflation is a risk. And number two, yields are also not helping people who do think inflation is a risk. So a little bit of flight to safety in terms of a slower economy. We saw slower ISM figures today out of the U.S., and also flying into gold for those who still believe inflation is a risk. All of that is a tailwind. And again, that's in the face of a stronger dollar. The dollar had its strongest day since June 21st, and the dollar was stronger, pushing other commodities lower, like silver, like crude, like copper, all lower on the day, while gold continued higher. And maybe that's why gold didn't finish near the highs, but gold still had a positive day. This all falls into that flight to safety narrative and the potential for a little bit of inflation hedging going on.